And I see my man in the background, Nick Cruse. How you doing, Nick? Doing okay, man?
What's poppin' tomorrow? How you doing, man? It's been a
I am
while.
doing
It's
well.
just glad to be on there with you.
Oh man, I'm glad that you could join me, man. Always. Nick Cruz, he's citizen journalist, founder of Revolutionary Blackout Network. I think that's what most people know you from.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, man, thank you for joining me. A thing I wanted to hit with you is the Epstein list. So, I mean, or the emails that have come out that
yeah.
have just rocked the Trump administration. I have to be honest with you. I don't even know if Trump could have won the race if these emails came out during the time that he was running. That would have been a hell of a lot of
Yeah.
copium to try to make that work. This is Donald Trump being asked questions about Epstein as he sits there like a bump on a log, not wanting to respond to any of these questions. It's like, how do you not respond to that, right? It's like, hey, Donald Trump was here with one of the victims that are sexually abused for hours at my house. How do you not respond to these questions? This is
Yeah.
him after the government shutdown, with reporters like screaming questions at him, and he's acting as if nobody has said a word.
Mr. President, are you prepared to negotiate with Democrats now?
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you respond to these Epstein emails that were released today?
Let me see here, folks. I don't hear anything. It's like, good job, Mr. President. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. How do you not respond to any of this, right? Like, and just for the audience, just in case you've been living under rocks where you hadn't seen some of these emails, some of these things are devastating. And this is
Yeah.
like Epstein writing to Ghislaine Maxwell. This is not, and I keep pointing out, it's not like Epstein is writing an email thinking to himself, when I'm dead, everybody's going to find out about Donald Trump. He's thinking these emails are going to be private, right? So here's one of them. It says, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked yet is Trump. The victim that I sexually abused spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. The police chief, I'm 75% there. Now, I took that to mean I'm 75% outing his ass. Here's another one. Victim who I sexually abused at Mar-a-Lago. This one is to Michael Wolff. It says, Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. I guess that never a mention ever. Of course, he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. It's like,
Yeah.
obviously he knew about my predilections. In fact, he asked Ghislaine to stop with the girls. And here's another one. It says, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or at the house, or it gives you valuable PR and political currency, you can hang him in a way that potentially generates more positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Which that part blows me away, by the way. But right, let's move on. It says, of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. And it says, I hear, this is Michael Wolff, by the way. This is Michael Wolff gassing him up. Like Michael Wolff is trying to get information from Epstein. And he's effectively, in having back and forth with Epstein, he's like, hey, wait till he says he hasn't been on the plane or hasn't had anything to do with you. And one last part, the one about the house, where come to find out Donald Trump was like, hey man, I haven't talked to Epstein since like 2006. And come to find out he got a loan in 2017 for his house.
Yeah. MAGA is cooked, man. It's over. MAGA is completely done. And this is like Donald Trump's panic. You guys know that Donald Trump called for a situation room in response for this. He called his cabinet together. And think about how absolutely depraved you are. You're not calling a situation room to address the homeless crisis, Jamal. He's not calling a situation room to address the cost of the affordability issue for Americans. The fact that record amount of Americans are suffering through medical debt. The record amount of Americans are suffering through credit card debt. None of this stuff cares about. None of these things are on the agenda of Donald Trump. But he will call an emergency situation room in order to scheme how to defend a pedophile.
Right. Like, we got to defend the people that pedophile has been working with. Oh, and by the way, myself.
Yeah. And you mentioned this earlier, Jamal, and it's such a great point. You run a great show here. How Democrats, if they really wanted to win, they could easily expose the Epstein stuff. They knew everything that was going on because a lot of them was involved as well. What does it say about the Democratic Party that they rather lose to Donald Trump than expose and highlight the crimes of Donald Trump and the ruling class? They rather make that decision the same way they made a decision that they rather have Donald Trump win than end the genocide in Gaza. I explain on my channel all the time how mainstream electoral politics in the United States is essentially the same as WWE. Like, they are 100% okay with putting each other over. You have baby faces, you have heels. And when the Democratic Party ran against Trump, that is essentially what wrestling fans call doing the job. They did the job for Donald Trump because it was Donald Trump's role to finish the genocide in Gaza. The ruling class wanted Trump in charge because it was Donald Trump's job to sell the Ukraine war to the MAGA base, which he has done. You notice that all these right-wing accounts, they don't really talk about Ukraine anymore because his foreign policy is just like Joe Biden on the issue. Now, one more thing I want to add, and this is an important part because the Democratic media is not covering like the Israel connection, how the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking ring was kind of like a side hustle. Like, the main thing he was doing was spying on behalf of the state of Israel, providing intelligence for the state of Israel. Like, he was negotiating with. I'm glad he had the receipts. Our boy Jamal. We already know he had the receipts.
I had it up.
I should have known you had the receipts. So you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm glad I wanted to go into details. So we all know here, because you inform your audience, that he's a Mossad asset. But if he was to watch it, because my audience knows that I have like this unhealthy obsession with debunking mainstream corporate media propaganda. So I watch CNN and MSNBC so they don't have to. If you watch some liberal corporate media coverage on Epstein, it will make you want to rip the little hair I have in my head, because they never mention Israel. They never mention the institutional support that Jeffrey Epstein received. For example, that New York Times, how they were completely exposed. Landon Thomas from the New York Times was giving tips and heads up to Jeffrey Epstein. So you have people institutionally in the New York Times that was working with Epstein and giving them a heads up when you had the NYPD police chief. I believe the investigator's name was John Connolly. He was investigating Jeffrey Epstein. And Landon Thomas of the New York Times ran interference on his behalf. So, fam, I need you to understand that sex trafficking, human trafficking, which is the second largest criminal enterprise, second only to drug trafficking, is not a working class crime. It is not a crime that ordinary people will pull off. It's a crime committed by the ruling class that you only get away with when you have institutional support. He had institutional support from J.P. Morgan Chase and banks who would allow large money transfers that they would usually flag. They were providing cover for Jeffrey Epstein, and he had an inside man at the banks who were personally approved of extremely shady money laundering deals that Jeffrey Epstein had. So this is what the liberal corporate media is missing, Jamal, which is driving me crazy because I know it's obviously a gigantic story that the president of the United States was involved with Jeffrey Epstein as late as his first term, as many of these emails are revealing. But what a lot of Americans are missing because of partisan context is the fact that the entire institutions in our entirety of the ruling class is in on this, is in on Harvey Weinstein, is in on Diddy. We have a completely depraved capitalist class, my brother.
Yeah, I as I was telling my audience this morning, right? It is a wild phenomena that the president of the United States and Congress are running interference for a dead pedophile. That is mind-blowing. Or at the very least, it should be mind-blowing, right? Like,
not even good politics.
Right. Like even in prison, right? It's like the low man on the totem pole is the pedophile. Not in Congress. Not in Congress. And to back up your point about the Israel thing, here's another one. I mean, there's a lot of these links. Epstein, Barack brokered Israel Cote d'Ivoire intelligence relationship report. I mean, there's even reports talking about Russian-Israeli back channel, which I don't even know why it would be necessary since Russia already had a relationship with Israel. But I guess my point is these stories are all over the place. And mainstream media just see no evil, hear no evil. Let's just talk about the emails that we didn't pay attention to for God knows how long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just amazing to me. And you point out the whole thing about the Situation Room right here, Jake Tapper. Okay, Jake, why can't I hear you? Oh, there we are.
Full court press to try and stop the discharge petition from working. Sources are telling CNN that top Trump administration officials held a meeting on this issue, not just at the White House, but in the Situation Room. Now, according to multiple sources, the meeting was said to have included the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
The one who gave a hand job in a movie theater. Lauren Boebert. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like,
we have our own top congresswoman. Like, she's already United States thought.
What the hell? How do you do that? And then flips out when they call her on. It's like, hey, miss, you can't give a hand job in the bank. How dare you tell me what I can do with my man? It's like, okay, fair enough. That, as you point out, that is not even good policy to throw your body to protect the apex predator that Epstein has been beefed up to be. And by the way, Ghislaine Maxwell, that's the other part of the story, right? So she is soaking in Club Fed. Apparently the prison guards have been pissed off because they feel like she's getting so many favors. Jesus Christ. This is after kind of like what Michael Wolff was saying to Epstein, like, hey, you got the goods on him. You can pull his chain. Okay, well, what has Ghislaine Maxwell been offered to not say, yes, obviously Donald Trump was messing with these kids. What did she, obviously a pardon. Like, I can imagine somebody going and saying, hey, Trump, wink, wink, needs you to be very honest, wink, 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 about what took place between him and Epstein. Wink, 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 wink. Now, we can't offer you anything, full blink, but, we just need you to be honest. Donald Trump was a saint. Donald Trump has never put his hands on kids ever. I don't even know if they had a relationship with Epstein.
You had I'm blanking on the Trump official's name, but you had the Deputy Attorney General that personally went down to interview Ghislaine Maxwell. And if you know anything about how law enforcement work, the Deputy Attorney General does not personally involve himself with talking to individual criminal suspects. And then if you're someone as high ranking as a deputy official, you usually will ask a follow-up question. Like, that's very important if you're grilling a criminal suspect that has every single motive to lie. Like, she has every single motive to lie.
Especially if they want to pardon. Especially if they want to pardon. Yeah.
If you guys in chat remember the guy's name, let me know. But I know he was a deputy attorney general, and he essentially was asking her questions like, "Do you think Donald Trump was involved?" And she would say stuff like, "No, I didn't see him." And he's like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like, no, you're supposed to ask a follow-up question.
I never saw him rape a kid with my own eyes. Okay,
he just write it down like, okay, just taking everything you said at face value. How is that not enough to cook the government? Like, I'm always astounded by my fellow Americans. Like, how is the revelation that your government cares more about protecting pedophiles and pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, who was a monster? How does that not immediately infuriate the American people? How does it not infuriate the American people when Trump lets Israeli pedophiles off? Like the Israeli pedophiles who was caught in Operation Stings, which I know you covered because you run a great show here. What does it show?
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I remember the story.
Yeah. What does it say? Because this is not new. I mean, this is like common behavior by our ruling capitalist class. They protect their own. And that's why I have the politics that I do, Jamal, because they advocate for intense law and order, harsh, authoritarian interpretation of the law, for ordinary working class people. For ordinary people, it's all about law and order, but you realize they have a relaxed, libertarian style, laissez-faire interpretation of the law when it comes to the ruling class, when it comes to money launderers, when it comes to white collar crime, when it comes to people who tank our economy, like in 2008, they are pardoned. They're getting bailout. They're giving bailouts, giving large bonuses for crashing our economy, engaging in massive fraud. You have pedophiles that is protected. Meanwhile, they got cop cities that are building all over the country. You have feds running around destabilizing cities because they must keep the peasants in line. My politics sum up in a nutshell, Jamal, is I want to flip that. We need to have harsh authoritarian interpretation of the law for the ruling class. You can call me authoritarian all you want, but you goddamn right I want to lock up the criminal bankers. You goddamn right I want to go after every single member of the IDF who committed war crimes, who was wearing lingerie after raiding Palestinian homes. I want all of them put on trial, and I want all of them to face accountability. And the liberal will call me an authoritarian for that. You goddamn right. I think it's about time for us to wage our political power on the ruling class and protect our own. The same way they protect their own, we need to protect our own and hold them accountable the same way they hold the peasants accountable. But sorry for getting a little fired up.
No,
that's my
man.
politics summed up in a nutshell.
It should piss people off. Like, I don't know. I don't get people who aren't pissed off of that, right?
Yeah.
Like my family would be like, dude, you kind of hot about this. Like, yeah. Why would you be hot about this? I'll give an example, right? Back in 2000, let's say 2008, the mortgage crisis. And you have, and people would say, well, obviously we have to bail out the banks. It's like, well, obviously, why? It's like, well, I mean, you have to bail out the banks. And it's like, well, why don't you just, if you're going to bail anybody out, why don't you just pay off the mortgages? Now, I don't have a mortgage, right? And I'm still saying, why don't you just pay off the mortgages? And it's like, moral hazard. Okay, well, why are you giving these other people money? Moral hazard doesn't apply to that. But that's different. Why is that different? Like, so moral hazard applies if you're paying off the mortgage in order to help random people, right? It doesn't apply when you're giving it to banks and you're making super banks that are that much more too big to fail. And they're doing the same thing with the AI bubble, where they're like, well, the government has put money into AI because we're fighting in a race against China. Well, okay, you keep telling me you're a capitalist country, but now you're dumping all of this money into these type of entities, right? Like, it's wild to me.
I thought China doesn't innovate. That's what.
Right.
That's what all the capitalists. That was Gordon Chang. Like, Gordon Chang been saying that on Fox News. Like, China will never win the AI race because they don't innovate. Like, they've been saying that for 15 years, and now they're like, oh, we need to borrow that China central planning model. But go ahead, Jamal.
Well,
I thought that was funny.
What's wild about it? They're even. I was watching one of the financial shows, and they're like, well, we're spending $80 billion. China is spending about $8 billion. And they're breaking even in regards to the capabilities of the system. And you're like, whoa, really? Like, think about that. Like, effectively, China is focusing on efficiency. America is just dumping money at the issue. And currently, the systems are effectively running near even. It's like, okay, that looks like a bubble to me. That looks like a bubble.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's the MAGA thing, as you were pointing out. Listen to what Megyn Kelly says here. I think I can play this. Listen to what she says here. This argument is going to blow your mind. She's talking about Epstein, and she has it on good authority that Epstein wasn't really a pedophile because he really only had sex with 15-year-olds.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like, he liked 15-year-old girls.
Think about that. Think about what you just said. She was like, I had it on very good authority by somebody who knew a lot about this case, everything about this case. And it's not that he was a pedophile. It was that he was into the barely legal, the 15-year-old types. Does she know the 15-year-old is considered a child?
Bro, she has teenage children. Bro, Bro, this
That
is
is
so dark
wild.
shit.
That's wild.
Do not allow your children to ever have a sleepover.
I know, right?
Jesus
Don't let
Christ.
Megyn Kelly keep your kids, right?
You want to know what I noticed, Jamal? Like, I noticed you got like Zionists are the first ones. Like the lady she was talking to, I'm
Yeah.
blanking on her name. You got like my people, my audience, they roast me because I'm always bad with names. But that lady that she's interviewing, she's known as a diehard Zionist. Like she's one of the biggest cheerleaders for Israel genocidal war against Palestinians. We all know that Megyn Kelly is a diehard Zionist as well.
Yeah.
You guys notice how Zionists are always the first ones to downplay the Jeffrey Epstein crimes?
They downplay
Technically, he's only teenage girls, man. And Ben Shapiro, like, that Jeffrey Epstein list, short flop did it. That's what he said during the summer. And a take that aged like milk, he went on this take like, I told you guys Jeffrey Epstein, you guys pushing these conspiracy theories about Epstein. It's always the Zionist. It's always the Israel first people who have zero concern over sex crimes. These are the same people who don't bring up the fact that Israel is having pro-rape parades and celebrating rape soldiers. So it's disturbing. Like, as much as I, as an anti-capitalist, as much as I want to say that the entire capitalist class is depraved, no, it's almost like uniquely American. Like, it's uniquely American ruling class, because there's other capitalist classes all over the world, right? So I want to say the entirety of the capitalist class is depraved, but I need Americans to understand that our ruling class in particular is uniquely depraved. They are uniquely criminal. They will suit themselves up in suits. They will use nice verbiage. They speak in polished accents, and they think they're better than it all. They eat in weird ways. They have these, like, what the wrong thing about? They have these like dinner table manners that they engage in because they live in high society. The reason why they do that, because they're trying to convince themselves that they're not monsters. You know what I mean? Like the high, that's the entirety of high society. They're the biggest criminals in our society. They're the biggest drug pushers. They're the biggest arm manufacturers and pushers. Our government is a glorified arms dealer masquerading as a government. Essentially,
they seem to think that fashion gets rid of issues of value.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like,
well said.
if my manners, well, I think manners are important. If my, what do they call it? There's a name for it. It's like where you have to have your fork in a particular way.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah.
Where your fork is supposed to be, and which one is the soup spoon, and where that's supposed to be, and how you put your thing. And it's like, if you know all that stuff, you're great.
It's like etiquette, like dinner etiquette.
Etiquette, that's it. Etiquette. Yeah, it's like my etiquette needs to be perfect, in which case that makes up for my lack of values. Yeah, it doesn't. But those things are different.
Yeah, that's always been my theory, Jamal. Like the reason why they're super high on etiquette, because that was something I had to learn. Like once I was selling cars, I was around people with money, and I didn't have the etiquette because I'm a country boy. I'm a country boy in the Midwest. And then when you look at like old England, like I'm talking about, these people are criminals. Like they ran slave mines, like the amount of war crimes, the ruling class, the sex parties, what they was actually doing to humanity was unspeakable. But they had etiquette. That's how they convinced themselves that they're not monsters. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I might be reaching a little bit here, but I think that's like, it's very important for them mentally.
Well, it's like if you're in a suit.
Yeah.
How bad can you be? Right? Like I wear this great suit and it costs $10,000 and I drive this Porsche. I mean, I have to be a great guy. Epstein, by the way, rich, got his money from somewhere. We don't necessarily know where. Gorgeous cars. Of course, he would have trophy women on his arm as he went back for the kids. The fact in the thing. And that didn't seem to stop all sorts of people from engaging with him. It didn't seem to matter. I mean, it's like the emails make it clear. I mean, he was even talking about getting like people from like Peter Thiel, these tech gurus and everything else to party with him and whatnot. It's an incestuous thing. And I think one of the big things that we may be missing out of this is political leverage on members of Congress.
Absolutely.
What does he have on members of Congress? What does Israel have on members of Congress? I mean, if Epstein had this relationship with Israel where he was like this kind of asset, okay, well, what does that mean for the presidency? What does it mean for the House? What does it mean for the Senate? And is it that maybe it's more than just Donald Trump not wanting this list to come out, that it's also members of Congress trying to save their own ass from their names showing up in this list also?
Yep. Yeah, it's been like, for example, the Syrian envoy, he's been exposed as a pedophile. I don't know if you had a chance to cover
Tom
it.
Barak, that
Tom Barak,
motherfucker. Can't stand his ass. Cannot stand his ass. One of the worst human beings in the world. Tom Barak has been out there trying to get Lebanese to murder other Lebanese.
Yeah.
And is saying, calling people animals. He's like, oh, you people are acting animalistic. Yeah, because you're trying to get us to start a civil war, you asshole. And he's like, you guys are, but he's in a suit.
Yeah. You see how they operate? Like, it's really like pathology. Like, I don't know. Some people are tricked and they actually start believing it. Like, does Tom Barak really believe that he's more high society, that he's more morally just than the Lebanese people that he called barbarians and animals?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know the answer to that question. From my understanding, he's like Syrian or Lebanese or something himself.
Doesn't surprise me. I heard he was Lebanese too. I heard that. Like, it's always the traitors, man. They're the worst ones. Like, the same way black cops are the worst. The black cops are the worst ones. That's like the Alexei Navalny's, like Maria Machado.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you're a Russian betraying Russia on behalf of the CIA, it doesn't surprise me that he's a neo-Nazi. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me that he's a white supremacist, because in order to betray your own people, you have to be uniquely unhinged, like Maria Machado. Like, I know you have done a great coverage on Maria Machado. Like, giving her the Nobel Peace Prize was probably one of the worst mistakes. It just shows how amateur the ruling class is, because it was best to keep her behind the scenes, man. Like, you don't want to have Maria Machado as the face of your movement, because there are even like imperialist-minded liberals, like, like the Bernie Sanders style liberal. Because Bernie, like, Maduro is a tyrant. Zoran Mamdani, he believes that Maduro is a tyrant and is a dictator. So even the liberal-minded imperialists, even they are starting to get turned off on the Venezuelan war, because they see this crazy lady Maria Machado. As liberals are pretending that they want to overthrow Maduro for democracy, Maria Machado, like, I'm going to privatize the oil. I want to open up. Like, you're not supposed to say that out loud. But the point I'm making is, like, the traitors are always the worst, man. Like the black cop.
Venezuela blind if you overthrow my government for me and militarily attack us. Yeah, she's nuts.
Yeah, that's why I prefer a Republican in charge, because the empire is going to be crazy no matter what. But if you had Joe Biden, or in this case Kamala Harris, in charge, you already know Maria Machado will be saying something completely different, right? Like, they are coached differently based on who is in charge of the empire. Like, if it was Kamala Harris, she would be saying how we need to fight for human rights, how Maduro opposes LGBTQ. But when you have a Republican in charge, they don't have to do that that nonsense, that propaganda nonsense, where they say, "Well, it's about the motherfucking oil." The same with Ukraine, with Lindsey Graham. When Trump is in charge, they don't pretend it's about human rights. We're here for the rare earth minerals. That's why we're in Ukraine. So at least when the Republicans in charge, it's not about human rights cringe bullshit. They just tell the truth. Like Maria Machado. She's not gonna lie and tell you it's about the LGBTQ movement. They're gonna tell you when a Republican in charge that it's about the fucking oil. We're gonna privatize our energy sector, and we're gonna make a lot of money selling out our own people. So whenever you see like these black, brown, or these people who are aligning with the United States, like we are seeing a lot of these fascists in Taiwan as well. They're playing with fire, like the Taiwanese president playing with fire. Like partying with AIPAC in Israel. The traitors they are recruited by the CIA in the West. They are the most unhinged, and they have to be put into check, man. I'm telling you. But go ahead,
No, I wasn't. I didn't have anything to say. I was just listening. No, you're right. they know what Trump wants to hear.
Absolutely.
Oil, minerals, how can we make profit? I mean, hell, even the Russians, like when they send Dmitriev here,
Yeah.
he's coming to talk business. Hey,
Yeah.
how can we make you money? And Trump is like, you can make me money in these ways. The problem, of course, is Trump can't accept a deal where the Russians win. And so regardless of the business interests at that point take the back seat. But if you're talking about overthrowing Venezuela, you're speaking to his ears. Oil, rare earths, privatization, et cetera, et cetera. And Trump is like, hey, she's kind of sexy. I like her. He's speaking my language. Yeah, I don't know, though. Marco Rubio seemed very deflated at the end when he came back.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen him when he got off the airplane and they asked him about Venezuela. He was like, well, the president has told us to go after drugs. Okay, it was never about drugs. Let's be honest. Right? Drugs had nothing to do with it. He was like, yeah, the president said we can go after drugs and that's what we're doing. And they brought up like Panama. He was like, well, I was like 3 years old when Panama happened, so that's not what we're talking about. He seemed very deflated. So I don't know if Trump was like, I don't want to risk going into Venezuela and look like an asshole if it doesn't work out. I don't know what it was.
I think they're starting to sweat bullets because I didn't see the Marco Rubio video because this is Marco Rubio's lifetime goal. Like this is why he was selected as a senator, was to engage in regime change wars against Latin America, use his Latino heritage to justify regime change war. Now, Donald Trump in his first term was completely outmaneuvered and outplayed by Nicolas Maduro every step of the way, which is why you should, I think on an international level, I think Venezuelans are allowed to judge Maduro however they like. But I think the way Maduro handled the United States aggression has been fantastic. Like, and this is why the Venezuelan people are behind him. And Trump, with his aggression and his war crimes, he's a criminal, murdering random fishermen in Venezuela. Don't get twisted. This is pure panic by the ruling class. Because every single attempt of regime change on Venezuela had completely and utterly failed. How many embarrassing CIA operations they have in Venezuela where the CIA officer was arrested, one pissed his pants before? They had United States sanctions that completely failed. And United States officials openly admitted, Jamal, how the strategy of United States sanctions, of turning the population against the ruler they want to dethrone, it is a failure. There's studies that show that sanctions, the only thing that sanctions accomplish is causing mass harm and mass death. Studies show that around 40,000 Venezuelans died due to United States sanctions just in 2018 alone. And we don't have updated numbers because there's not a lot of studies on this. Yeah. So the sanctions has failed, and sanctions only serve to rally the Venezuelan people around Maduro. There was a lot of Gusano capitalist elements who don't approve of Maduro, but even they are aligning with Maduro now because they don't support regime change war. They don't support Western intervention into Venezuela. They united the Venezuelan people. They united the Latin American continent. This is how deranged Trump policy is, Jamal. Because you had people like Gustavo Petro, who more like a social democrat, who was critical of Maduro. Now he's the strongest Maduro defender. Because even though he hated on Maduro before, he's like, bro, I got way more beef than with Donald Trump. The pedophile, he calls him out as a pedophile. The pedophile in White House, he got way more beef. He's been the harshest defender of Maduro. Lula from Brazil also was shaky on this issue. Well, he condemned, he was questioning the results of the Venezuela election, being a token of the United States like he often does. But even Lula's like, we got the Brazil 100% stands with Venezuela unequivocally. And now you have Russia and Putin sending anti-air defense missiles to Venezuela. You have Russian officials that floated, I don't think they're going to do it, by the way, but they floated sending ballistic missiles to Venezuela.
Right? The guy was like, maybe we should send. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do it, but these factors I'm laying out for you guys is why the Trump administration is starting to sweat, because they realize it's not going to be as easy as they thought. They already failed what Biden tried to do. Biden, because Democrats are more effective at managing the empire than Republicans, he was whipping South American leaders against Maduro.
Yes.
What Biden was doing was actually more effective for the regime. Trump going all out, killing fishermen, actually set the regime back, because now you have leaders that they was working on, that they was working to side with them. They're now completely rejecting the United States position now. Like having Brazil, for example, like now completely rejecting anti-Maduro stances, the largest economy in South America, around half the population, is a gigantic loss for the United States. And now Venezuela is being armed. They have militias that are being armed by the government. You also have militias in Venezuela who wasn't even on the side of Maduro. They're like, man, if you motherfucking Yankees step foot in Venezuela, we're going to bury you. You have Venezuelan gangs that are releasing statements saying that any American that comes to Venezuela, you're going to get cooked.
Yeah.
So the last thing I say in my message to the peace movement is that we need to become way more anti-troop than we have been. We need to start saying fuck the troops, because we need to de-arm the military industrial complex. We're not doing it by legislation. Like, we're not going to legislate ourselves out of the war. The only thing we can do is defund the military, voluntary ourselves. The American people put their labor into the war machine, and we need to turn that to a social stigma. Every single United States soldier that goes to Venezuela and gets smoked, I'm laughing at your ass. I'm laughing at every single United States soldier who died fighting for Israeli wars, because it's time for it to smarten up, and we need to stop. We need to have like a protest against it. We need to stop allowing this to be socially acceptable, if that makes sense, because that's the only way they're going to stop. We're not going to stop them like via polite politics. We need to change the culture. We need to make it culturally toxic to serve these military arms, if that makes sense. But go ahead, Jamal.
It makes sense. No, I remember when all of this first came up, I was like, defend your territory, kill the enemy, kill the enemy. I mean, like, what would we do, right? Like, if somebody came across our shores, like, how would we respond to that? And so it's like, they're following illegal orders, murdering random fishermen in the Caribbean. That's outrageous. Like, these are just random fishermen. I mean, these boats can't even get to the United States. It would take like 8 fuel reloads or something like that to get to America. And who the hell wants to stay in a fishing boat coming all the way to America? It's like, it makes no sense on its face.
You guys realize that they had someone who survived one of the boat attacks. They questioned him and realized that he wasn't a fucking gang member, and they sent him back. If they were bombing gang members, why would they send one of the survivors back instead of taking them to custody?
Yep.
So for all the bad judge repeating it, like Donald Trump and the ruling class, they're criminals. And the point I want to make, because I think this is an important point, because I really want to get people to stop worshiping the military industrial complex. Don't allow the ruling class to turn you into a criminal. Like, they want to turn you into a criminal to work on their behalf. Don't ruin your own mental health. Don't ruin your life by serving their agenda. And if you have a family member, if you know anyone who, I want to go sign up and serve my country because I want free college, it's your moral responsibility to do everything you can to talk to your family members and convince them not to join. If you are a parent and you lose your child because you send them off to fight in Gaza, because there was U.S. Marines in Gaza, will you send your because there were U.S. soldiers who died in Syria because they was illegally occupying Syria, and photos was released of these soldiers who was murdered in Syria, who in illegal occupation, and it was all black. Like, you have black Americans occupying Syria, and then there was one of the parents that was on CNN. I did a pretty harsh segment about this about a year ago, and she was like, I don't know why he was even over there, but he was serving our country and he died. You're a parent and you send your child to Syria. You don't even know why they're fighting. Are you? You guys see how that's horrific and why I speak out against that? Like, if you're a parent and you do send your child somewhere to fight in a war, isn't it your responsibility to know everything about that conflict? Why your child? If I had a child that was sent to Syria, for example, I'm going to be a Syrian historian in under a week. I'm going to tell you everything about the country. I can tell. I'm going to be able to say everything. President.
Why are you going to Syria? Like, why are you there? Do you remember when those Americans died? I think it was in like Nigeria or somewhere. People were like, "We have troops in Nigeria." Like they were just shocked by the whole thing. Like, really? Why are they there? It's like, yeah. Why are we there? Why are we there? There's a Ben Folds song where he says, "I thought about the army. Dad said, son, you're fucking high." That's what I was laughing at when you were like, it's like, do everything in your power to dissuade them from doing this.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are
ruin your relationship. Do not allow like all these military funerals where I see the family crying. Like that's such sucker behavior. Like the truest thing that Donald Trump ever said when he said these people who die fight for our country are suckers and losers.
He did say,
"Why you gave your life for oil, bro? You gave your life to defend opium farms in Afghanistan. That's why you died, bro. That's pathetic. I know it seems mean to say this, but someone has to. I'd rather be the asshole and say that these people died for no reason than allow someone to die for no reason, fighting on behalf of the military war machine. You have, like, for example, an entire generation of Ukrainian men, completely wiped out. Because they're fighting the imperialist war of their government, because they feel like they have some sort of patriotic duty to fight for the country. That's one of the greatest propaganda nonsense that the ruling class ever pulled over the working class. Oh, thank you for your troops shit. And the fact that the peace movement never fell for that is why the peace movement and the left failed. Like, you see people who are anti-war who will say shit like, "I respect the troops." Fuck the troops. Like, you tell me you respect the troops. Do you know what they did in Vietnam? Do you know what they did in Iraq? Do you understand? You know what the My Lai massacre was? You understand that no one was held accountable for that? The My Lai massacre in Vietnam, where they murdered hundreds of innocent women and children. They raped girls as young as 10 to 12 years old in Vietnam. United States soldiers wasn't charged for it. They returned back home in America, and then Americans was like, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for raping women in Vietnam. Thank you for raping Iraqi children. Get the fuck out of here." Like, by the way, now you guys know why I'm banned on corporate media.
By the way, the Vietnam was more complicated because when they got back, they were spit on. Like
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, that shit didn't fly. Like when they got back, they were attacked. They were spit on. That's a good point. Yeah, that shit didn't fly when they got back in the States from the Vietnam one. They looked like monsters in many respects in the way that the public viewed them. I mean, they were protests. There was all sorts of stuff going after those soldiers from Vietnam as a result of the way the media had turned at that point against the war. You can't exist if the media turns against you in regards to a war. It becomes, I mean, hell, Nixon was nearly impeached over that shit.
And now the ruling class, they learned a mistake because they learned you can air wars out. You can't show footage of war. They thought that Vietnam was going to be sexy for the media companies. They're like, we're going to have our first televised war. And they thought
what they learned was that you don't have drafts. You keep the military, basically you have a volunteer military force.
Absolutely.
And that way you get 1 to 2% of the population that's in the military. So the rest of the population is disjointed from whatever the president does with the military. That seemed to be what they learned. It's like, hey man, these drafts.
That's a good point.
It's like, let's avoid that shit.
Good point, man.
Yeah, the military thing is rough. I have family members that have served. I don't know if my cousin was actually in combat. I don't know if Chris was actually in combat. The military is a complicated thing.
Like, I understand that my comments are controversial, but there's nothing that makes me more sad when I see a brother in a military uniform. That shit depresses me, man. It like legitimately make me depressed. Like whenever I see like how am I blanking on the Lloyd Austins of the world? That's like legitimately depressing to me. Yeah. Like I try, and I understand I'm not gonna attack. Like, I don't have the dog in me. Like, I guess to like attack these people in the face. But it's like, man, it bums me out. Like, whenever I see people signing up to fight for the empire instead of engaging in class war. Mm-hmm. So you want free college, so you want to sign up for horrific crimes, to work for criminals that are hated by their own people. Like Congress has like a 13% approval rating. Congress funds the military industrial complex. They approve of the wars. You guys are signing to fight for extremely unpopular people. And I'd rather tell the truth now and change the culture than be quiet about this. Because instead of signing up to fight for wars to get free education, we need to be demanding that via civilian people power. So you guys see, when you sign up for the military industrial complex to get free college and free healthcare, you're undercutting worker class movements. You're signing up to fight for the capitalist class, to be their foot soldier, while the capitalist class denies healthcare benefits, education benefits for everyone else. It's actually detrimental to working class movements in the left to be accepting of this like bribery, blackmail of the ruling class. And it's crazy to me how this was normalized. You know what I mean? Because when I say stuff like this, I shock the conscience of a lot of people when I hit the political scene, start saying stuff like this. But to me, it's common sense. Because like when you are a Iraqi child, if you're a Syrian, if you're a Libyan, if you was a victim of the United States regime change war, they're not like, well, at least the United States soldiers, they just had to afford free college. I understand that you invade my country because you just want health care. That is not what they're thinking, man. Yeah. Like you're the stormtroopers. Yeah. Like you're the stormtroopers around the world, and you justifying it because I want to study political science. I want to get a business degree. Get the fuck out of here. And I don't expect everyone to agree with me on this immediately, but I will continue to make this argument because I personally believe that the peace movement failed on this aspect. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Jamal. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't have anything to say. I was just listening. I was just listening. Yeah. I wasn't trying to butt in. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, it's all good.
I don't know if did the peace movement fail because of that? I don't know.
They haven't stopped any war. Like the peace movement was like, we oppose all the war, but we respect the veterans. Like we need to demonize. I'm not saying going after people because people make mistakes. People can grow. There are anti-war veterans, and I think they play a very important part of the movement. But we need to actively demonize you joining the war against Taiwan. Like, at what point do we say that you? And I'm not a liberal. Like more liberal-minded people, like, oh well, they victims. You have the poverty drive. Fuck out of here with the poverty drive. You have a choice. I believe in personal responsibility. That's the difference between a Marxist and a communist and a liberal. I believe we have personal responsibility to engage in class war to make life better for ourselves. I don't like saying back, like, oh, we're a victim. No, you have a choice, and many people are signing up to fight for the war machine. There are people who sign up to be police officers and engage in class war against the working class instead of help bailing out the working class. So these are choices that people make, and I want to be 100% clear. If the peace movement doesn't make this like well known that you shouldn't be serving the war machine as soldiers fighting against China, we will never be successful. We will never be successful because they're serving people who are not popular. Like it's not like they're serving a popular front, because then I will sound out of touch. But once again, they're serving a president that is only supported by 1/3 of the American people. At what point do we as a society, we like, all right, our political system is broken. We can't replace these people like Nancy Pelosi. We can't replace Dianne Feinstein. We can't replace Chuck Schumer because we have a capitalist dictatorship. So at what point do we withhold our labor? At what point do we say, man, we can't get rid of these people politically because our system is toxic? So we got to withdraw for our military. That got to be the way for us to protest. But you guys see how the left, they don't even think about this kind of stuff. The pathetic, failed United States left, they support Zionist New York police commissioners like Zoran Mamdani. They have no plan to actually challenge their power. What I advocate for, which is why I'm banned on corporate media, is one of the best ways for the left to cut the head off the snake, to completely dismantle their power by advocating for people to leave the military. But I know I probably got to show off the rails, but I think that's what we should advocate as a peace movement. We need to object. Like, there's nothing morally wrong with serving in the military in China, because what countries are they bombing? What countries are they invading? Right. So I don't think I'm unreasonable when I say it's morally wrong to serve an army where there's no draft. You're not being forced to do it. You just sign up voluntarily to commit crimes around the world because you know that you will be able to do it with impunity. And when you get back, you will be rewarded by the capitalist class. I just think we should speak out against
Rewarded.
that. I think that's
mean,
the original topic was Venezuela because I want to tell people like they're going to do this war in Venezuela, and then just to bring it back, and it's going to be catastrophic. Like the air defenses come from Russia, the militias in preparing in Venezuela. We are seeing another Afghanistan and Iraq happening in real time, and people don't say stuff like I'm saying until it's too late. Once the body bags come back, that's when they're like, man, I don't think we should be signing up for the military. Too late. Now you're going to be dishonorably discharged. I wanted this message to come out before you even sign up. Now it's too late. The people in the Marines, it's too late for them now. You're going to die in Taiwan. Like if you're in the Marines right now, you're cooked. Like you're cooked, my friend. I'm trying to save the next generation. But go ahead, Jamal. I know you want to chime in.
No, I'm just saying that's deeply aggravating. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, like for example, I'll give you a good example. Iraq falls. And then let's say like 5 years later, like, man, maybe it was better for Saddam Hussein to stay in place.
Yeah.
Syria falls. They sodomize Gaddafi with a machete. And they're like, man, they're selling blacks as slaves for less than a car. Maybe it was better for Gaddafi to stay in place. And then they get to Syria. And people like me will be like, hey, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's like we have examples. You've seen Saddam fall. You've seen what happened after Gaddafi fell. They may not be the most cuddly of people, but this is a horrible idea. They are going to be murdering people left and right. We saw what the Wahhabis did at the point where they invaded the first time around. This is a bad idea. And they're like, you're just backing Assad. You're just an Assad apologist. It's like, dude, I didn't even mention Assad. Yeah. I pointed out this is a horrible idea. And then it falls. And what happens? They go ethnically murdering people left and right, Christians, Druze, Alawites, etc.
Absolutely.
And they're like, God, man, that's so unpredictable. And you're like, okay, man, what the fuck? It's like
what can you do, man?
Computer. This shit is aggravating. I guess my point is I agree with you, right? It's like you send troops into these locations. You bomb these locations. You do all of this stuff to these locations. You create chaos around the globe. And then they're like, God, man, that's totally unpredictable. It's totally unforeseeable. We were just doing it for humanitarian reasons. And then you look at Venezuela and it's like, well, obviously it's about the drugs. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always hilarious when you see like the Gen Z neocons. Like every once in a while I'll see like the Gen Z right-wing people who repeating like the narrative on Venezuela. Because I've been very aggressively calling out the Venezuela psyop, and every once in a while these right-wing Gen Z Gusano people who didn't live through the war on terror, but you can tell that this is their first go around. Like it's very clear to me whenever it's someone first go around with the war machine, because I grew up in, I'm sure you did as well. I grew up during the Iraq War. Now that was a foundation that shaped my entire politics. Being part of the resistance against George W. Bush Jr. Guys, I had the biggest George W. Bush Jr. derangement syndrome of all time. Like, you know how the Trump derangement people are? That's how I was for George W. Bush, man. I was in middle school. I was a freshman when Barack Obama was first elected. It was like, bro, that was like my entry. I was learning about Abu Ghraib. I was learning about all the crimes of Iraq. And I was like, I'm going to be 100% anti-war. So after seeing all the tricks, all the lies, all the lies about weapons of mass destruction, they could never fool me ever again. I snuffed out every single regime change. I've been following the gray zone for years. Like even before I became a citizen journalist, I've been a citizen journalist maybe like the last 5 years, debunking empire propaganda. But I've been doing it for years just because of the Iraq war. And I think the empire don't realize how many of us in our generation was radicalized because of their foreign policy blunder. That's why it's always hilarious when people who did not live through that are maybe like boomers with fucking bad memory or something. And they all like Alzheimer people. Like, I don't know, like, how do you guys go through it multiple times? Like, because they use the same strategy. Like, they're not even like clever, Jamal.
Yeah.
Like, whenever they want to engage in war with a country, you debunk the narrative by the empire. What do they do immediately? You mention it. They'll call you a puppet of Putin. I've been called that many times.
Oh yeah,
a
Dude,
sock
I worked at the
puppet.
radio station. Yeah,
I was called a puppet of Nicolas Maduro. Apparently, I got ties to
there's
Venezuela.
a Maduro
I got
puppet.
ties.
There's a Maduro puppet too.
I
Okay.
got ties to Venezuela, China. According to the liberals, like this is, I got ties to all these countries because that's the playbook. I'm a puppet of Putin. I'm a Black American who has ties and loyalty to Putin because we speak out against their wars. They use the same playbook every single time. We have no reason to dislike Putin, friends. It's not Putin that's building a police state. It's not Putin building cop cities. It's not Putin denying you health care. It's not Putin that completely tanked the job market. It's your ruling class that failed.
Yeah.
It's the American ruling class that failed you, which is why it's crazy to me that there are people who go along with it. I'm talking about like both Republican and Democrats. Like people in the duopoly, like, oh, don't you know you're supposed to hate Russia? What the fuck did Russia do to my hood?
Yeah.
Like, show me the slave routes. Show me the Atlantic slave trade that Russia was a part of. Spoiler alert, they was not. The USSR was an ally to Black liberation movements all over the world. So I've been asking like the NATO left, the Bernie Sanders style people, that this is what led to my fallout with Dr. Cornel West when he started repeating anti-Russia, pro-Alexei Navalny bullshit. It's like Russia is not our enemy. The enemy of our ruling class I would never sign up to repeat propaganda on their behalf. And we need to start becoming way more militant about that. Like Maduro is not our enemy. And we need to condemn people like Zoran Mamdani, AOC, who repeats nonsense like that. That Maduro is authoritarian, a tyrant. Maduro is such a tyrant, Jamal, that he's allowing militias to arm themselves all over the country. So if Maduro was so hated by Venezuelans, wouldn't these armed militias be overthrowing Maduro?
Yes.
Why would he be arming his people? But you notice how social democrats and the failed United States leftists, who I've been extremely critical of, they don't question any of this. They're going to repeat what the empire says. They're going to say that Cuba's evil. They're going to say that Russia's evil. They're going to say that Nicolas Maduro is evil. They're going to say that China's evil. You know why? Because they make a devil's bargain that I would never agree to. The devil's bargain that social democrats made for decades, that we will serve the empire. We are willing to repeat your propaganda. We're willing to support your war in exchange for a welfare state, in exchange for crumbs. Not like actual political demands, but we just want a little bit more welfare. We just want spoils of the empire. And that's the ideology I harshly reject. And these are the people who tend to go along with the Putin puppet narrative. Like that's why you see Anna Kasparian. Like, why do you even have to apologize to Aaron Mate for calling him a Russian puppet? Like, I have a safe arm in preparing for that, man. Because that's something.
I don't know if the audience. By the way, I don't know if the audience knows what you're talking about. Anna Kasparian wrote a post recently where she was like, "Hey, I called Aaron Mate a Putin puppet or something, and he has my deepest apologies. I'm ashamed that I did believe it at the time." And it's like, why would you even believe that? Why would you even say that? It's like, just because I am pointing out that you guys are full of shit on this whole thing, how does that make, like, meaning, how can I say it? It is the laziest form of argument to say that I think you're making your argument because you're somehow working with Putin. How? Like, if I'm pointing out in every other instance that you've overthrown these governments, this has been chaos. How am I a puppet for pointing out the reality of history and that this history is going to repeat?
Right.
Or if I'm pointing out the reality of how the Ukraine war started, it's almost like by virtue of you saying, "Hey man, you're spitting history to us," that you obviously back in Putin. Motherfucker, what is what I said true or not? Right?
Yeah.
That shit is aggravating. And the same thing with Maduro. It's like, how is this a threat to us? How is this a threat to us? Like we've done the weapons of mass destruction stuff. This is a thinner version of that. And you guys are going along with it. And Americans anesthetized be like, "Oh, well, I mean, if they're bringing drugs, I mean, obviously we got to, overthrow the government." It's like, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. The idea that you're sitting on a news program and you had to apologize to them in the first place is outrageous.
Yeah.
Especially for that.
Yeah, the TYT rebrand has been wild to watch, man, because
it has been.
The Israeli genocide allowed a lot of people to whitewash and clean up their previous mistakes politically. Now Anna is trying to win over the anti-Zionist coalition that is now forming, and a lot of people with short memories forgetting who they are. So as she's apologizing to Aaron Mate, she still has me blocked because I was one of the people who called her out. So are you going to apologize to all the horde of black Marxists and communists that you blocked, like me, because I called you out? You gotta know why she blocked me in the first place, because I called her out for giving a softball interview to Madeleine Albright.
Dude,
and she
I don't know
blocked
if
me
you see
for
that
that.
video on that. I was brutal. Brutal on that because I was like, she's like so self-effacing. Now, mind you, just to be very clear, this was a policy where Albright was asked, "Hey, you guys got I think they said 700,000 kids or something like that killed as a result of your policy," and Albright was like, "Well, I think that's necessary." Anna goes through the entire interview without bringing that up at all.
That's crazy. And guys, by the way, I like TYT wasn't really on my radar. Like I didn't really cover them. That interview was so horrific. I was all over it. And I posted, I think under Jimmy's tweet, I posted a picture of her with Madeleine Albright. She found that tweet and then blocked me in response. Like I wasn't trolling her, like, because I block people all the time. Like if we're not having a conversation, it's just you trolling me. Like I will block you because that's just a waste of my time. I'm not anti-blocking. But what I found weird is I didn't even post under her account. Like I posted a picture somewhere else. She found it and then she blocked me afterwards. So are you going to apologize to the rest of the anti-imperialist left, or are you going to apologize just to Aaron Mate because he's popular and you want to grift off of gray zone support? Now I'm the kind of person, because I don't blame Aaron at all. I'm the kind of person, it doesn't matter how much you wrong me, I almost will always accept your apology. It's brutal not to accept someone's apology. Like, so I don't blame Aaron Mate for this at all, but it is 100% opportunistic on behalf of Anna Kasparian, and it's wild that people don't see through it. But good for them. They successfully rebranded, I guess. Good for them. Good for them.
You're a better person than me. I don't necessarily always accept everybody's apology. Remember what it is? It's like I could be like, okay, I can do it now.
Yeah.
Keep moving. It's like, yeah, man,
Yeah, I'm a
I
softie.
don't need to retread this ground twice.
Yeah.
It depends on what it is.
For sure.
Yeah, it depends.
Like if I wouldn't forgive someone, like if I'm so mad at you that I wouldn't forgive you, I probably already threw hands on you, bro. I would probably put hands. If you're a chick and we dated, I probably already broke up with you. Like if it's to the point where I wouldn't accept your apology, that apology already came too late. At that point, that's all I would say.
Yeah, it's that, right? It's like you need to see it instantly. But I got to be honest, right? I would give apologies after reflection, like where it's like, okay, maybe I was an asshole, right?
I do that.
Maybe I was a dick in that moment. That's not my.
I do that all the time. Like if I'm wrong, I will apologize. I apologize to you all the time, especially to family members. Like I whenever I have like a short temper and I was snap at someone, so I'm a guilty. I'll be feeling bad whenever I go after. Whenever I feel like I'm in the wrong, I think it's important for you to do as a man. Like, if you're a man and you haven't apologized for anyone, like if you haven't apologized to someone in the last year, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, are you perfect? You never was wrong ever. Like you the perfect person apparently. Never make any mistakes. So that's a reflection on you. Like, just actually, like, have you apologized to anyone in the last year? Is that because you didn't make a mistake? You had a perfect year. You're the perfect person. You're Jesus, apparently, huh?
Well, you can be a stepping stone, also.
That's a good balance. That's a good point.
Right? It was like you're the punching bag. In which case, you just kind of just accept the shit. I've had to apologize a few times where I lost my shit. It was like, all right, maybe that person had a point. Maybe I got that wrong. Maybe I was inappropriate in that.
Yeah.
Nick, man, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I really have.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, man.
I really have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, man.
You run a great show. I had a great time. Like you can tell, I'm having a great time here. You run a great show. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for having me on. Make sure you guys follow me. I have my own personal YouTube channel as well. We're starting to decentralize a little bit more because they've been going after our RBN accounts because I think they now realize what we're doing here. So
know
we
that
decided
we know
better to
that face. We have AI
Yeah.
searching his ass out.
Yeah, so we're decentralizing a little bit. Sabby, she's killing it. She has an amazing channel. Like she's our gem. Like she's our quarterback, our leader at RBN. So Sabby's killing it. JB's killing it as well. And I also got my own channel as well. So make sure you guys follow me, Nick Cruse, on YouTube as well. So appreciate family on Jamal. You run a great show, man. I appreciate it.
I will put this in my bio for the thing because I knew about Revolutionary Blackout Network. I didn't know about the individual.
Yeah, the new channel started last month. Like I started my new. People been asking me to have my own channel because I've been heavy quarterbacking RBN. Like that's been my like main channel. But I want to have my own channel. I want us to decentralize a little bit. Also because I'm like, man, I don't want to get our. There's times I want to say shit, but I don't want to get our like the group in trouble. So I had to have my own channel. You know, and do my own stuff. So make sure you guys follow me. I've been trying to spread.
Right. It's like we're gonna take this shit off air. No, I understand. I do understand.
Yeah. So I definitely gotta have you on. It was a great conversation. I think you run a great show. I definitely gotta have you on my new program as well. Make sure you just follow Nick Cruse. Like we had Sam Husseini on yesterday. I had Joe Stein, Shama Swan. I have everyone on who I'm trying to build this anti-Zionist coalition. I had people from the Green Party, Worker Strike Back. I had ACP people on. I had the chairman for ACP, Haas on. Like essentially what I'm doing, I'm talking to anyone who is serious about forming a working class anti-Zionist movement. And we cover news from an anti-imperialist perspective. So hopefully you guys follow me, Nick Cruse, on YouTube, Twitter, X as well. So thank you, Jamal. Keep up the good work. You're doing a great job here, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Nick Cruse, he is citizen journalist, founder of Revolutionary Blackout Network. And of course, you can find him on the Nick Cruse channel, as he just pointed out, and also on social media, Twitter and whatnot. Nick, thank you for this, man. You be safe, okay?
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.